Okay, so today we're going to share 3 really unsettling stories. These all came from the Whisper Diaries YouTube channel. And what's kind of creepy about them is they all happen during the fall. You know, that time of year when everything looks beautiful but maybe feels a little off.
Yeah, there's definitely a vibe. Autumn can have that effect, can't it? Beautiful decay, almost.
Exactly. So we've got stories about abandoned places, weird encounters, out hiking, stuff like that, all set against that fall backdrop. Ready to get into it.
Let's do it. That time of year, the shorter days, everything dying back, it does create a certain mood.
It really does. Okay, so this first one happens late October. It's about 2 friends, but 16. They're looking for something spooky to do, you know, near Halloween.
Classic teenage adventure fuel.
Right. So instead of dealing with Halloween night crowds, they pick October 30th. And they decide to check out this abandoned farm they both knew about. Never actually been there before, though.
Ah, the abandoned farm. Always a good setting for something unsettling. That sense of history, things left behind.
Totally. So they drive out there. It's getting dark. Dusk is settling in. They park and start walking down this long gravel driveway.
Just flashlights cutting through the dark.
Yeah, exactly. The narrator mentions only ever seeing the place in daylight before. So as they get closer, they can just make out these shapes, a barn on the left, and then the house further back.
And they head for the house first.
Yeah, the house seems more interesting initially, you know, thinking about who lived there, what happened.
Makes sense. Houses feel more personal, like they hold more stories.
But when they get there, it's a dead end.
Yeah.
Every single window, every door, boarded up tight with wood.
Oh, disappointing for them, I guess.
Yeah, totally. So their focus shifts. They see this sort of worn path leading off towards the barn. And the narrator says, as they started walking towards it, the whole feeling changed. Like a real sense of unease started creeping in, coming from the barn itself.
That feeling before anything actually happens, that's always effective. Like your instincts are picking up on something.
Definitely. So they get to the barn, and the big main door, it's standing wide open.
Inviting or not so inviting?
Yeah, maybe menacingly inviting. The narrator goes in first. Friend follows. They sweep their flashlights around this big dusty space, and almost right away, they get hit with this horrible smell.
Worse than just old barn smell.
Oh, yeah. The narrator makes a point of saying it wasn't typical barn smells, just horrid. And then they see them. Footprints in the dirt floor.
Okay. What kind of footprints?
Well, that's the weird thing. Loads of them. But they all just went back and forth in straight lines to one specific spot on the far side of the barn.
That's odd. Like someone pacing obsessively? Doesn't sound random.
Not at all. So they follow these tracks with their flashlights, and they end up pointing at this wooden hatch in the floor. Almost hidden. Blended right in.
Okay, a cellar door maybe?
Probably.
Yeah.
But what really grabs their attention is the lock. It's got this brand new shiny padlock on it.
Wait, on a totally rundown, abandoned barn, a new lock?
Exactly, that contrast. Old decaying barn, hidden hatch, brand new shiny lock.
Yeah.
It just felt wrong. Like someone was actively keeping something secret now.
Yeah, that immediately makes you wonder why. What's down there that needs securing so recently?
Before they can even really process it, bang! This huge, loud thud echoes through the whole barn.
What was it?
They spin around. The big barn door they came through slams shut hard, plunged them into almost total darkness.
Whoa, okay, that's terrifying.
Pure panic.
Yeah.
The friend just bolts for the door, yanks it back open. They both shine their lights out, frantically looking around outside. Nothing, just darkness.
Feeling trapped, even for a second in a place like that. Intense.
Totally. They didn't wait around to figure it out. They just sprinted back through the field, up the driveway, didn't stop till they were back in the car and gone.
I don't blame them, not one bit.
They never went back.
Yeah.
But the narrator says months later, they drove by, and the whole place, house and barn, was fenced off. Proper barriers, blocked from access.
And no explanation.
Tried to find out, looked online, asked around, maybe nothing. No public info on why it was suddenly blocked off. And the narrator ends thinking, you know, if they'd stayed near that cellar hatch just a bit longer, maybe they wouldn't have gotten out at all.
Oof. Yeah, the unknown is often the scariest part, isn't it? Your mind just fills in the blanks with the worst possibilities. Chilling stuff.
Really is. Okay, so the next story we're sharing moves us to mid-fall, Appalachian foothills. This one's about a 22-year-old. Not really an experienced hiker, but wanted to see the fall colors before leaving the East Coast.
Ah, the solo hike. Beautiful, but it definitely adds a layer of vulnerability, especially if you're not super experienced in the outdoors.
For sure. So they get to the trailhead, and the parking area is completely empty, deserted. The trail itself looks quiet, a bit overgrown, Doesn't seem like it gets a lot of traffic.
Setting the stage for isolation.
Yep. As they hike further in, the woods get thicker, denser, less sunlight filtering through. The narrator says it wasn't exactly scary at first, just a very strong sense of being totally alone out there.
That deep quiet in the woods can be peaceful, but it can also amplify anything unusual, makes you more aware.
Exactly. So after maybe an hour or two of hiking, they're surprised to see someone. A man just sitting by the side of the trail, leaning against a tree.
Okay, a fellow hiker maybe?
That's what you'd think. The narrator gives a polite nod, says hello, but the man just looks up, stares at them for like a few seconds too long, totally silent, then just looks away again. No reply, nothing.
Oh, that's immediately unsettling. Breaking that little social contract you expect, even out on a trail. Weird.
Super weird. The narrator definitely feels a prickle of unease. So they pick up the pace a bit, just want to put some distance between them and this silent guy.
Understandable.
Eventually they reach the destination, this scenic overlook. Great views, fall colors, they enjoy it for a bit. But then they turn around to start heading back.
Don't tell me.
Yep, standing right there at the end of the trail, just a short distance away. The same man. And the narrator is sure they didn't hear him approach at all.
Okay, no. That's not coincidence. That's creepy. Appearing silently like that after the first weird encounter. Red flags going up.
Big time. And then his whole demeanor changes. He actually smiles, asks the narrator if they enjoyed the view.
Okay. Maybe he's just awkward.
Well, then he points off towards this other path, barely visible, looks really rugged, heading off into the thick woods. And he starts insisting, oh, the view down there is even better. You should check it out. It's just a short walk.
No, trying to lure them off the main trail onto some rough hidden path, that's deeply concerning.
The narrator thinks so too. They politely refuse, say they need to get back, but the man keeps pushing it. Oh, come on, it's really worth it. Just really insistent, and it starts feeling, sinister.
That persistence is the key. It goes beyond just being friendly or awkward. It feels like pressure, manipulation.
Totally. So the narrator finally says firmly they need to leave and tries to walk past him on the main trail. And the man physically moves to block their path.
Whoa, okay, that's it. That crosses a line from weird to actively threatening.
Absolutely. The narrator says at this point, just sheer fear took over. The silence of the woods suddenly felt very, very dangerous.
I can only imagine. Trapped on a trail, deep in the woods, with someone acting like this.
They managed to, carefully step around him. Slowly, deliberately. Got past him. And then just hurried back down the trail as fast as they could without actually running and drawing more attention.
Did he follow?
He kept looking back. He just stood there watching them until they were out of sight. Didn't follow, thankfully.
Oh, man.
They made it back to the car, completely shaken, absolutely convinced that encounter was not random and that the man meant them harm. A very narrow escape, they felt.
You just don't know what his plan was, but every instinct would be screaming danger there. That feeling of being watched all the way back, horrible. Glad they got away.
Me too. Okay, our last story for today. This one takes place in October. Again, at one of those fall/Halloween fairs, often held on farms.
Yeah, corn mazes, pumpkins, cider. Usually pretty wholesome.
Usually. So this involves a high schooler who went with a few friends. They went on a weekday evening, kind of late. Most of the families had already left, so the crowds are much thinner.
Quieter, maybe a bit spookier atmosphere setting in.
Perhaps. Anyway, they decided to do the corn maze. And you know how it is in corn mazes.
It's easy to get split up.
Yep. The group gets separated. Our narrator ends up with just one friend, Micah. They lose the others and are trying to find the way out together.
Happens all the time in those things.
So they reach a fork in the path. Micah says, okay, I'll check down this way real quick. You wait here.
Famous last words. Well, hopefully not literally.
Right. So the narrator waits. A few minutes go by. Micah doesn't come back. The narrator calls out his name softly, doesn't want to yell, and then they hear footsteps coming through the corn stalks nearby.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like Micah.
Uh-oh. Unfamiliar footsteps in a quiet maze when you're waiting for your friend. Instant nerves.
For sure. And then this guy appears. A large man dressed in, farmer-type clothes. Looked like he worked there.
Okay, maybe an employee helping people out.
That's what the narrator thought initially.
Yeah.
The man tells them the fair's closing up soon, and that he actually just saw the narrator's other friends and escorted them out already.
Plausible, I guess. Especially if it's getting late.
Seemed plausible enough at the time it was getting darker. So the narrator trusts him and starts following him. But the man leads them deeper into the maze. further and further away from where the entrance sounds seemed to be coming from, everything got really quiet.
Alarm bells should be ringing there, leading away from the exit sounds into the quiet part.
Yeah, in hindsight, definitely. They keep walking, and then they reach a dead end. Just solid walls of corn.
A dead end. So he doesn't know the way out either. Or
the man just turns, pushes right through the thick corn stalks at the dead end, like breaking through a wall. He steps out into an empty field beyond the maze boundary, and he gestures for the narrator to follow him through the gap he made.
Okay, that's not normal employee behavior, going off pests like that.
Not at all. The narrator cautiously steps through after him into this dark, empty field. And that's when they see it, parked out there in the darkness. A car. Engine running, but headlights off.
Oh, hell no! A running car, hidden, lights off in a field next to a corn maze. That's not right. That feels planned.
A massive wave of fear just hits the narrator. This is wrong. And just as that thought hits, the man turns suddenly and lunges at them, tries to grab them.
Oh my God.
Luckily, adrenaline kicks in. The narrator yanks away, spins around, and just bolts back through the gap into the maze. Doesn't look back, just runs blindly through the corn, trying to get back towards any sound, any light. Total panic.
Running for their life through a corn maze at night. Terrifying.
Finally, they burst out of the main entrance of the maze. And their friends are there, waiting. Micah included.
Oh, thank God. What did Micah say? What happened?
Okay, this is where it gets even weirder. The narrator is hysterical, trying to explain about the man, the car. But Michael looks confused. He says he did come back to the fork where he left the narrator, couldn't find them, waited a bit, then found his own way out. He never saw the narrator, never saw any large man in farmer clothes.
What? Their stories don't match up at all.
Not only that, none of the other friends had seen this supposed employee either. No one had been escorted out by him.
So the man's story about escorting the friends out was a complete lie.
Seems like it. They called the police, explained everything. The police checked the empty field next to the maze.
Yeah.
No car, no man, nothing, except tire tracks. Clear tire tracks in the dirt, right where the narrator said the car was parked.
Whoa. So the car was definitely there. But the man, the car, vanished. Micah not seeing anything, that's deeply unsettling. The physical evidence of the tracks, but the conflicting stories and the disappearance leave so many creepy questions.
Exactly. So yeah, there you have them. 3 stories all shared from that channel, all happening in the fall and all, well, pretty disturbing.
They really are. From that locked cellar in the barn, to the hiker being steered off the path, to that near abduction in the corn maze. It's how normal settings, familiar fall activities suddenly become threatening.
Right. The abandoned farm becomes sinister. The beautiful trail becomes dangerous. The funfair maze turns into a trap.
And that autumn atmosphere we talked about just seems to enhance it all. The fading light, the sense of things ending. It almost primes you for something unsettling to happen, doesn't it? Makes you wonder what was really going on in each case. The locked cellar, the hiker's true intentions, the vanishing man and car.
Makes you definitely think twice about that quiet trail or that dark corner of the farm. Well, thank you for joining us while we shared these really eerie experiences today.
Thanks for having me sharing the chills.
If you found these stories unsettling, do check out the Whisper Diaries YouTube channel where they originally came from. Give their stuff a like, share it around. And of course, for more stories like this recounted here, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs. Until next time, stay safe out there.